Yo, New York, what up? New York, I'm in the house. Yo, real quick, before we get started, I need everybody to go ahead and give it up, man, for the staff and for the New York City Hoop School and for Evan for putting this together. My man, he's came a long way, and you know, to see people progress in life and what we do as coaches, as teachers, as mentors is extremely important. And so, you know, it's an honor to be here, man. Like, New York is my second home. I get more love here than probably anywhere in the world. I love New York so much that I actually just moved out here recently to Brooklyn with my wife and my family. So, thank you. I'm excited, man. So I'll be doing some stuff with the Brooklyn Nets this season. So I'll be kind of in and out. And also, my daughter is on the way. She's due any day now. She may be even coming into this world after this speech. So it's all love, man. It's all love. So before I even get started, I'm an intimate guy. I know I'm light-skinned, but I need to feel the love, right? So all you young guys, I need y'all to come down here real quick. Get front row. Okay, I need everybody to pay attention. It's the last thing for the day. I need everybody to get your notebooks out, get your pens out. Because what I'm going to discuss today, one of the things that we're going to talk about today is about shooting. Okay, shooting is a premium in the game of basketball. If you can't shoot, it's going to be hard for you to have a career. It's going to be hard for you to have a business as a coach or as a trainer if you can't teach shooting. I know shooting can be very subjective at times. You know, everybody has their own philosophy. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I'm a firm believer there's not one way to do something. There's multiple ways to do something. So I'm about to give you guys $1 million worth of information. Okay, so it's extremely important that you guys stay attentive. I don't want this to be a lecture. I want this to be more of a conversation. I want to exchange ideas. I want you guys to be able to, you know, give your feedback and your insight. So now, just to give you a preface, this may take a little bit longer than I was expecting. So we'll dive into it. I'm going to do some demonstrations. I'm going to ask for some of you guys to come out here and show what you got on the basket. So without further ado, okay, we're going to jump right into it. We got 3 things we're going to hit. Okay, we got 3 touch points. All right, so go ahead and you can bullet point this if you want. The first thing is going to be the shooting mechanics. We're going to dive into the formula of some of the methods that I've had to figure out over my 16-year career. Now, I promise you, in my process, this is why I call it a beautiful struggle. I've struggled a lot in trying to, you know, go through my trial and error aspect, and I probably failed more than I've succeeded in this game. So, again, these are my theories. These are my methods. These are my my commandments, if you will, that has really worked for some of the top players that you guys watch on TV today. Second thing, we're going to dive into the nuances of shooting off the dribble versus off the catch. There's a whole different dynamic. And for you hoopers out there, y'all know what I'm talking about, especially my OGs, okay? Shooting off the dribble is just a different dynamic. How you pick up the ball, how you find your rhythm, how you pull up into your jumper is way different than just, you know, spot ups and catch and shoot. The last segment that we'll dive into is just more about your shot selection, your awareness, your IQ. So for you young guys, this is going to be extremely important for you because you guys are now in the phase of, you know, getting evaluated, trying to get recruited. And this, I think, is going to help you guys get to that next level, okay? All right, so the formula, right? We're going to dive in. I'm going to show you guys some behind the scenes with 3 of my players. P.J. Washington from the Dallas Mavericks, Victor Wembanyama from the San Antonio Spurs, and Tyrese Maxey from the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I've been blessed and fortunate enough. I met these guys very early on. And probably, I'll say about 14 to 15 years old, all these kind of kids came into my life because of my other relationships, like from the Trae Youngs, the Juwan Evans, some of the other guys that were, you know, graduating in 2015, 2016, they became McDonald's All-Americans. They actually made it to the NBA, and that kind of just gave me a new group of clientele, starting with these guys. So these are kind of my little guinea pigs, if you will, my young boys. And so today, I want y'all to really think about what I'm saying. And then I want you to feel what I'm saying. Okay? So again, we'll dive into that. And really, one of the biggest things I wanted to that I'm proud of in my career. I don't showboat a lot. I'm not trying to be, known as the greatest. All I care about is having the greatest impact. That's extremely important for me. Evan alluded to that earlier about how important relationships are for me. Relationships is the real currency. So for your coaches out there that's trying to elevate and get to that next level, don't nobody really care about what you know about basketball. That's important, but it's more important on how you make your players feel. That's how you're going to retain your clientele. That's how you guys are going to get 2 or 3 players that you may be training and elevate to 10 to 15 players, right? I mean, you talked about that. How's it changed your business thus far?
Yeah, I met Tim at Drew Hamlin's 2 years ago, and it completely changed my perspective on training. I now have a handshake with every one of my players. That's one way to connect when I don't know you. I just made a handshake with him today, and now I talk to them. I'll go out to eat with them. I'll know why they like basketball. Instead of I have this formula, just doing the drills, and if you're not getting better, you're not working hard. But a lot of guys, they have something going through when they're coming in the gym, and I want to know when that's happening. They're not going to be comfortable enough to do that unless I create a connection to start. So a lot of the times, I would tell the kids, we may not train the first 2 or 3 sessions.
Yep.
So shout out to him, man. It changed my whole perspective.
Nah, I appreciate y'all. Show them some love real quick, man. Yo, so again, man, this is just a fraternity, right? These are some things I genuinely believe in. These are my principles. And so one thing that y'all listen to Drake, right? We got any Drake fans out there? I know things have changed since the Kendrick Lamar situation, but yo, I still love Drake. Come on, man, don't hate. I know I'm light-skinned, we look alike, but it's all love at the end of the day. So, I think it was him or Rick Ross, maybe it was one of the two, but they was like, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Well, shoot, to be honest, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I've had to do a lot of rebounds for these dudes, and I taught them how to shoot. So again, I take pride in my body of work. And with P.J. Washington, for example, when he was at Kentucky, P.J., and I love P.J. to death, he's like my little brother, but he was one of the worst shooters ever at the time. I mean, he was a man-child in the 8th grade when we first met. Big-ass hands, his wingspan was long. He was coordinated, but when it came to him shooting the basketball, it was just suspect. I mean, you didn't know if it was going to hit all backboard, if he was going to airball. So that's when I had to learn how to actually rebound, so I wasn't sweating too much, in the workouts. But when he went to the University of Kentucky, we had to figure out different methods, and I had to figure out 10,000 ways to say the same thing. Because the one thing with us men, we don't really listen. That's one thing I learned from my wife. She's got to find 10,000 ways for me to take out the trash. So, with women, it's a little bit different. You just got to tell them one time, and they react and do accordingly. So for PJ, though, I had to find ways to create new terms for him to understand what I needed from his shooting mechanics. From that, we was able to increase his three-point percentage from his freshman to sophomore year 20%. Now, that's usually unheard of in the game of basketball. So that's a major, not just about the shooting mechanics, but instilling confidence. I remember hearing Michael Jordan say, look, why would I worry about the next shot? It's 50-50. The shot's either going in or it's going out, right? So sometimes I think as players, for you young guys, we could tend to kind of get nervous, right? If you miss a shot or you airball and the crowd's out talking trash, it's okay, it's a part of it. But you have to have that confidence and belief that every shot that you take is going to drop and go in. Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese went through a hardship, damn near borderline depression after his rookie year. It was hard because he got drafted during the year of COVID. When he was at Kentucky, he didn't have the opportunity to go play in the March Madness. So for his pre-draft workouts, we actually had about 6 months to get him right. And he was an okay shooter at Kentucky, but when he went to Philly, Doc Rivers benched him. I mean, that's when they had Ben Simmons. That was before all that crazy stuff going on in Philly. But Reese wasn't really touching the court like that. And that was the first time He had to come off the bench. He didn't know his role. You know, it was just kind of up in the air. So mentally, it was hard for him to be engaged because, you know, with him getting 10 to 12 minutes a game, and anybody that's came off the bench, you know how hard it is. You cold, your hands are sopping wet from your nerves and stuff like that. And if he misses 2 or 3 shots, he's getting subbed out. So it's like, damn, how can you really have confidence if I got to make every single shot? You know, that's a level that is hard to reach every single game. So we had to get in the lab. We had to figure it out. We're not trying to make excuses. We're trying to find solutions. So the solution was increasing confidence. We had to get more precise with his technicalities, his methods. We figured it out, 12% increase on his three-point percentage. Victor, same process. Probably the biggest hands I've ever seen in my life. When you talk about an alien, this dude is just phenomenal. I met him when he was 15 years old. This is a little bit right before COVID. I was working with Rudy Gobert at the time. He kept telling me about this kid, Victor Wembanyama, Victor Wembanyama. And for me, I don't get excited when I hear new names. I've kind of seen it all in my 16 years. And when it came to Vic, you know, they sent me a highlight tape. I'm not really a big fan of highlight tapes because everybody looks good. I want to see, you know, how do you react? What's your body language like after a miss? You know, when you're getting subbed out or you down by 20, are you responding or are you reacting? Those are some things that I like to study in terms of the physiology of a player, the behavior or the psychology of a player. I could relate more with that as opposed to somebody just dunking on every highlight. So we had to get creative because once COVID hit, we had to start training through Zoom. Some Zoom calls. So I'll be in Dallas, Texas, in the hot-ass heat, outside on a tennis court, demonstrating drills while he was in Paris simultaneously, mimicking all the movements and the patterns that I was trying to instill into him. So here in just a minute, I'm going to show you guys some video and some clips of everything I just talked about. You guys are going to be able to get some visuals, and then we'll jump right into the demonstrations and play it out. Okay, so real quick, I need y'all to write this down in your book. The 3 Ps. Write the number 3 and write a big-ass P right next to it. 3 Ps. Okay, the first P that I look for. So again, the first ingredient in my formula, all right, is going to be posture. This is overlooked. This is under-taught in the game of basketball. And when we talk about posture, whether you're shooting off the dribble or you're shooting off the catch, a lot of players have poor hip flexors. So I'm not a kinesiologist. I'm not a scientist when it comes to the body, but I know what I see, right? I'm very attention to detail kind of guy. So when I'm looking at a player is, first, we got a basketball. Yo, young fella, you come up here real quick. So the first thing I usually do, come over here. Man, this ball flat. Oh, it's just, we got dead spots. All right, so let's stand at that red line. Okay, the first thing I do when I get a guy in the gym, I'm gonna just throw him the ball as soon as he catch, okay? So one, I already know he's not shot ready, okay, no pun intended. So I'm looking at how he's catching the ball, right? I'm looking at his posture. Go ahead and just act like you're gonna shoot. This is what the first thing you guys are gonna probably see in the majority of shooters, right, is their posture. Their back is straight. And I had to figure this out because my golf game is trash. So when I was swinging the golf at Top Golf, you know, I'd be swinging the club, but I had to change my posture to be able to create accuracy. So posture is the first thing that we focus on, and essentially what we want is we want the shoulders slightly in front of the toes. Okay, so as you can see, go ahead and get in a shooting stance. A lot of guys are operating like this. Their back is straight. Now what that does is the ball, act like you're gonna shoot, it's either gonna raise up or they're gonna push it out, right? So the release point is subject to change in times depending on where they're gonna shoot it from. So if they're shooting from the corner, it's gonna be a different shot from the wing and so forth. Now in this, if he was to lean a little bit forward, I want you guys to watch what happens when he moves the ball up, then the body's second. Now we could get a little bit more velocity on that ball by getting underneath it and then aligning our spine going north. So again, we want the shoulders right in front of the toes, just slightly. I don't want players too far over, but I don't want them upright. I want to find that happy medium. Okay, the second thing, their core. Okay, breathing is important. I have every one of my players swim. So instead of having them do cardio from baseline to baseline, I take them right into the pool, even if they can't swim. But we work on holding the breath. And why do you guys think I do that? Anybody got a wild guess? Exactly. That's a hell of an answer. You're the first person, you know that actually said it the way I'd explain it. It expands the lung capacity, right? So when you go underneath the water, anybody ever swim just a couple laps? It's gonna get your heart rate going, right? You're gonna see your adrenaline, your hands shaking. These are the little nuances that I'm talking about. So when we could get guys to control their breathing and develop techniques with their core, right? I don't want guys in the corner getting nervous when they catch the ball and they're kind of fidgeting, their hands are shaky, and then they're just chucking the ball up, right? So we have to go through a routine of practicing our breathing techniques before the catch. And as the ball's coming up, we tighten the core, right? Just so we can make sure that we have correct aim and accuracy. Okay, the last thing is the same thing with the shoulders. My bad, I'm gonna let you sit down in a minute. So as he's here, right, a lot of players, when they catch the ball, go ahead and tighten your shoulders. No, tighten them up just like they were. Okay, so naturally, this is his natural position. It's tight, right? So what I want guys to do is go ahead and relax just a little bit before, relax your shoulders. Okay, now as the ball's coming up, go ahead and tighten up right there, okay? And that's gonna align everything that we need to, from the core to the spine, and being able to get fluid on that release point. So go ahead and sit down. I appreciate it. Y'all clap it up for him. Show him that love. Appreciate it. So real quick, any questions on that? It's pretty self-explanatory, right? None of this is rocket science. It's all basic information, okay? But that leads us into the next point, right? The second P. So jot this note down. Okay, power. One thing school did teach me when I was paying attention was my favorite class was in geometry. Basketball, all this is, man, is just angles. It's just angles. So again, for you younger guys, I know everybody wants the Rob Dillingham moves, the step backs, the side steps, all that stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we got to learn how to play with pace. We got to learn how to attack in angles. And so the first thing for our bigs is I've noticed that by shooting with about 60-degree angle, right, which is an acute angle, they're able to get the ball where they need to. So when you guys go back and you watch Shaq or some of the old big men that just didn't really have good touch, it's just because their forearms, everything was just kind of misplaced. So working with Wemby, working with guys like really about 6'6" and above, we try to get that 60-degree. So I know a lot of coaches are not a fan of that because the mythology over the history of time is everybody wants a 90-degree angle, and I'm not against that. But I've noticed that the 90-degree angle helps a lot more with the smaller guards because of the depth perception. So I'm 5'11", I like to say I'm 6 foot on my driver's license. So for me, the way I see the rim is gonna be way different than how PJ or Victor sees the rim, right? Just because they're naturally taller. So that's gonna affect the trajectory of how we push the ball out. Okay, so again, it's just something to think about. Now, real quick on these bullet points, the wrist. I'm sorry, what's your name, my man? Matthew? Okay, I need you to pay attention real quick. I'm telling you, because you never, first off, I'm going off the script real quick. What grade you in? Okay, imagine if I had the power to change your life right now. What would you do with me right now? Would you be paying attention? Oh, well then that's a bad example. But let's stay in it real quick, because this is for all you guys. I ain't trying to put you on blast. We ain't gonna fight. But you just never know who's watching, right? So again, when you guys are in these type of situations, y'all paid money. Again, this is $1 million information. So, I'm sorry, Daniel? Matthew. So when he caught the ball, did anybody identify what his wrist was looking like? It was on top, right? So you're gonna have two players. You got players that catch the ball like Tyrese. Tyrese do the same thing you do, right? He's a top heavy guy. He used to drive me crazy, especially when he was in high school. I'd be like, Reese, just get your wrist loaded and just catch the ball like this. And he just couldn't do it. Nick Claxton from the Brooklyn Nets. I love him, but he does the same thing. And so again, going back to 10,000 ways to say the same thing, we have to be creative as teachers. So with the flip wrist, a lot of players will generate their power from the wrist. Kawhi Leonard, he's another example of that. Guys that don't really elevate a lot. Steph is another member of that community of getting power into the wrist. PJ is a little bit different because we had to really maintain and structure his wrist to make sure that he's kind of like a catcher in baseball, to where he's catching the ball and he's getting underneath it and just getting the ball up. So that's the first tidbit. The second thing is going to be the hips. So what we practice on is a lot of hard dips where a guy's standing up high, catch, and then he'll dip his getting under it and going into the shot. Or we'll work on just a little mini dip, something that's just minimal, right? Just a slight bend in the hip and just kind of getting underneath the ball, the same movement. The last thing is going to be the shoulders. Going back to that I think that's the biggest, my bad. I got all this stuff falling apart on me. The shoulders is another big thing. So for you coaches, even for your players, if something ain't feeling right and you guys continuously keep missing shots, always go back to what your shoulders feel like, okay? Because I know that's kind of something that's overlooked at times. Okay, the last thing, precision, last P, okay? Write this down on the bullet point. Precision to me is being perfect. Okay, we have to be precise in everything that we do. So when we step on the floor, I'm looking for perfection. I'm a quality over quantity type of guy. And in that, we're focusing on our feet. Okay, so let me see somebody else. Give me a volunteer real quick. You mind if I see that ball, man? It could be anybody. Real quick. Go ahead. Okay, again, I just want you to watch his natural progression, his natural movement. Go ahead here to the corner. Or here, go to the top of the key, my bad. Okay, watch his feet. Watch what he do. I just want you to just catch and shoot real quick. Go ahead. Okay. All right, good bucket, good bucket. What did he do with his feet on that catch? Huh? Go ahead. Huh? Okay, set his feet first. Shuffled his feet. There's guys in the league. Go ahead and just wait for me for 1 minute. I'm gonna use you here again. If you guys watch the Knicks, I know y'all love the Knicks out here in New York, right? Y'all love the Knicks. Y'all happy with the cat trade? You feeling that? It's a good trade. We'll see what happens. But if you guys watch the NBA, it could be WNBA, it could be any level of basketball. I see so many players, they'll catch and their feet are still moving, or just kind of like right here, it's a little shuffle, right? Or if they're dribbling, they catch the ball, their feet are still moving, last minute, and they get into the shot. Again, nothing wrong with that. But the majority of coaches are not dissecting the nuances of just being able to get a foot that's anchored in the ground. Okay, so let's just stay on the catch real quick. I want you to do the same thing, okay? And I want you to try to, as you're moving laterally, I want you to try to stab that 1 foot, catch, and just go straight into the shot. Yeah, just move laterally, okay? Catch, 1, 2, right there. Okay, better. Okay, so that's all we're trying to practice. Okay, we're trying to get a high amount of reps at the different steps, laterally and vertically, him sprinting to the corner, coming off wide pin downs, etc. But essentially, we're trying to sustain balance, whether it's off the dribble or off the catch, and just making sure they got at least 1 foot anchored into the ground. Okay, so second thing, the velocity. You go ahead and sit down real quick. Appreciate you, man. Good looking. So the velocity, okay, that's the second thing we're going to touch on here in a second. But we have to be precise on how we control the ball, okay? So I teach a lot of fadeaway movements, right? Everything essentially is off balance in basketball. It's very seldom that you guys are going to be 10 toes to the basket, being able to catch, be perfectly squared, and just have a perfect pass and get into the flow of your shot. So we try to prepare and do the best job we can with controlling the arc of the shot. So I'll have players make X amount of swishes on a flat shot. Then they'll have to kind of go into another degrees in their arc. And then we have to shoot high arcing shots. Because again, majority of the shots are contested. Then we have to factor in who's playing defense. So if you're D1, D2, you know, you got guys flying at you that are at least 6'4", 6'5", with at least about a 7-foot wingspan. Then you got to factor in their verticality. A lot of these guys nowadays are jumping 35, 40 inches off the ground. So you got to be able to change your shot on site. Okay, the last thing, pick up. How we pick up the ball. Okay, especially off the dribble. I know if I'm a right-handed shooter and I'm going to my left, if I got a defender on my right hip, I can't bring that ball all the way here to my right pocket and then go up into my shot. Right? So how we pick up the ball. We have to simulate every type of drill that we do is going to be more game-like. So if they're going to the left, they're going to have to work on bringing their shooting hand over, right, and come across their body and being able to find a way to be able to tuck in their elbow on the way up and then shoot up. Okay, so now I want to show you guys some visuals on what I'm talking about. You mind holding this real quick? Thank you, Coach. I love them shoes, man. Yeah, we both do, man. It's them D-Waves. I see. Any questions so far on the 3 Ps? We good with that? Is it making sense? Okay, perfect. All right. Real quick, so with PJ, this is where we started. Okay, I met him in 2012 in 8th grade. Met his father at this coach's clinic. They had Fran Fraschilla, Larry Brown at SMU in Dallas. His dad was actually working at a car dealership at the time at CarMax. And I heard of him. You know, the Washington name was very prevalent at that time because Deion Sanders had a school called Prime Prep. This is before Deion did his whole thing with football. And Prime Prep was actually the #1 prep school with all the players that they had at the time. So PJ was a incoming freshman. So I'm sitting down talking to his dad, and he said, man, I need you to start training my son. I've heard you do good work, whoop-de-woo. So we met, we started working together, we established a great relationship. And he left in Dallas and decided to go to Finley Prep, which is kind of like the Oak Hill of the West Coast. So Finley Prep had like Tristan Thompson, Corey Joseph. They've had a lot of, like Avery Bradley came from Finley Prep. He moved out there to Vegas, and what I would do is I used to either take a bus to Vegas from Dallas, or I would just fly out there and start training with him. So a lot of this stuff that we worked on started early in his youth. But over a 3-year span, became a better player, made the McDonald's All-American team, committed to the University of Kentucky, played for 2 years there, entered the draft, and the rest is kind of history. Now he's in the starting lineup for the Dallas Mavericks, played a huge role in the NBA Finals on their quest to the championship, and again, he's going to start this year with a better team now that they had Klay Thompson on the group. So this is in 2014. First thing we went out and did was start on his foundation. So we always start from the floor up. If I'm going to build this gym, I'm always going to start from the floor all the way to the roof. We started focusing on the 3 different variations. Again, this is another note. You got a lot of coaches that teach 1-2, inside foot. Nothing wrong with it. I'm a fan of that. Okay, but we all know in basketball, the timing of the pass or the timing of your pickup is going to vary. So there's going to be moments where I go inside foot, right? There's going to be moments where I got the hezi, where I go left-right or right-left. There's going to be times where I got to catch off the hop, right? So every single day, every single shooting drill that we do, we're going to focus on all 3 variants. Inside foot, ball side foot, and off the hop. All right? More chest. Okay, so notice, I'm trying to reaffirm, okay, going back to the chest. I need him to be mindful. I'm just sending him little quick reminders, right, of his chest. So now we're working on his lateral movement off the dribble. So now we're focusing on his pickups, moving laterally, right, moving left, going at an angle, left and right. Same thing over and over again. At this time, this was his freshman year at Kentucky. So then we just progressed. We got it. Just tuck that over. 1, 2, 1. High. Trust me. You look, come on, that part. Good. Same thing. Good. Lean, chest, tap. There you go. Good. Lean, tap. Okay, so first, terrible quality on the video, right? The shit was shaky, but you guys get the gist of it. So essentially, again, I know nobody's really gonna just catch the ball in the corner and put it on the floor. But what I needed him to be aware of is how he's receiving the catch or the pickup from the opposite hip. So he's a right-handed shooter. I need him to get fluent in catching the ball from the left hip and going across his body into the shot. Depending on the location, for me, you could see in a glimpse of how much patience I had to have. And for you coaches, y'all all know, it gets frustrating, especially when players out there, they're not listening, and you're trying to tell them, hey man, just do this little thing, and it's not registering, it gets frustrating. So, again, we just have to learn how to be patient with the process. It doesn't take time, it takes years. So again, it doesn't take time, it takes years for this to really develop. So I know a lot of you guys work out. That's cool. But are you developing? There's a major difference in that. Okay, so then we go into the game situation. All right, we game simulate everything. Good. Perfect. 7, 6, 7. Good. So get out the feet. What? Tap. Go. We got it. Get that eight. Good. 1, good. Perfect. Tap. Good. Sorry. I want you to do the same thing. Next time, all you got to do is examine. Y'all doing a good job of examining the hip. But when y'all run away, you high. So even if he's closed out, just something this line. So I got to dip and then turn the corner. I'm not going to be able to get it. So that's what I'm saying. You got to do a better job of timing that pass. It comes off. When I slip, I got to learn to get this thing. All right, I'm just going straight up. That's it. Just shoot light speed. So, hey, it's a part of the brotherhood, man. Hey, so at the end of the day, you see how we're kind of putting out everything that we've been working on individually, right? Now we're just simulating in the game situation. But going back to the dip, a lot of guys, they not shot ready. They catching the ball and they're high, then they got to dip their hips. And by that time, especially in the league, guys is already contested. So again, for you younger guys, you want to really do a better job of timing your pass, okay? Timing the pass. So if the ball's coming at me, I want to try to get my shoulders below that pass. A little bit of an exaggeration, but I want to be loaded up to where if they run me off that three-point line, my first step dribble, I can get into my floater, I can get into my layup, whatever the case is, but at least I'm going to have more balance going into my shot. Same thing right here. I'm getting shoulders below the pass. Shoulders below the pass. We got shoulders below the pass. Below. Look, get underneath the ball. Up. There you go. Smooth. So look in the anchor. The foot is anchored. He's got his shoulders below the ball, and everything's just going directly up. So we're just working different spots and just beating this drill to death. Right here. You heard that Dipset? Dipset, baby. Harlem, what up? So. So you see, now this is the finished product. This is last year in the playoffs on their request to go to the NBA Finals. Again, watch his footwork. Watch how he catches the ball. Inside, ball side, hop step. He looks confident when he shoots. There's no hesitation. There's no timidness at all. So as you can see with the finished product, right, it takes years. It doesn't take time. So again, for you young guys, if you're trying to be great, you guys got to start this process now, especially for you, little PJ, right? You trying to play for the Nets one day? Or would you want to play for the Knicks? Which team? Because it's nice playing in the Garden, right? Ain't nothing like it. So you got to think about that. But you also have to write your goals down too. But that's for another discussion. Okay, so real quick, any comments, any questions on that? Yes, sir.
When you were working with the athletes and you were a DJ, did you work with him every day, or how often did you work with him every day? Because as an athlete, I feel like there's a lot of stuff you got to do on your own, but as a trainer, you know, if you could, you would, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I feel like did you give him extra homework to do on his own, like extra drills that you could do before you play?
Yeah, so it takes a village to raise a kid. I think we all know that. And so to your point, the question was, did I work with PJ every day? Short answer is no. Okay, because with him being in Vegas, being in Kentucky, me being in Dallas and still working with my other clientele, what we had to do is create a script, right? So for every player that trains with me, we create a blueprint, or we focus on 2 to 3 things year round. So in this situation, for one whole year, we're only focusing on maybe off the catch. Year 2, we're focusing everything off the dribble, right? But in that, I have great relationships with his coaches. So going back to the relationship thing, talking to all his coaches, with Calipari and everybody, making sure we're on the same page, because I don't want to be teaching anything against them. But in terms of his mechanics, that's always going to be, a collective process. But for me, in terms of what I see, getting these guys in the summertime, we get at least 90 days. So in 90 days, it's a probation period. So you could really accomplish a lot in 90 days, because if it takes, 14 to 21 days to form a habit, by the time he goes into school or goes into training camp, it should already be programmed and downloaded. Yep. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
What footwork would you recommend to get the fastest shot off? Like, like how you say you go to higher levels, all the long route that's like, like the 1-2, so like would you recommend the 1-2 and not hop into the shot? Like, would you recommend?
Yeah, so the question is, what type of footwork would in terms of giving advice to get your shot off quicker, right? And to answer your question, it's all scenario based, right? Just because of how the defender's guarding you, how the weak side rotations are covering you. Basketball is a very simple game, but again, if you can master all 3 forms of the footwork, regardless of how the defense rotates and defends you, you're going to be able to make it work. So let me go ahead and skip some of your questions. We'll get into that. I just want to run through this so we could actually get into the Q&A. So, all right, I need you, my man. Come here real quick. Yep, I need you. All right, so real quick, everything that we just discussed, right? Now I want to demonstrate it real quick and just run through this. Okay, so the anchor foot, right? So typically, if you're great in high school and you're going into college, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a role player, right? If you're the top player in college and you go to the NBA, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be a role player. So majority of role players, what do they usually put them? Where's the shots coming from? Right in the corner, right? So envision we're in transition, okay? Naturally what happens is when guys are, when they're sprinting, right? Come back. When they're sprinting and they go catching the ball, going through your natural progression, okay, they're always going inside foot. Again, nothing wrong with it. We're going to work on that. But for me, what I want is when guys are sprinting, I want them to stop their momentum before they go out of bounds. Because if I go inside foot and I catch, I can veer going through the baseline. So what I want to do is try to staple that right foot. I want you to do the same thing. Let's go 3 shots. I want you to sprint and then nail that right foot to stop your momentum going into the shot. Yep, you're just going to plant that, anchor that right foot. Boom. Quick shot. You good. You got fouled on that one. I know you cold. We good. Let's go right in. You good. Show them that love right here. Inside. 1, 2. Good. Perfect. Good. Money ball right here. Last one. Right foot. Inside. Smooth. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's 2 out of 3. Good work. Okay, so we'll work on from the corner. Now, hold on. I need you. Real quick. I know you're getting warm. All right, so if he lifts, okay, going from the corner, let's say this dribble penetration. It's another thing we really discuss and talk about. Guys on the weak side that hate getting stuck in the corner, this is your best time to relocate, right? So if I'm on the strong side in this dribble penetration, weak side man has to be able to tag that roll man or what have you. So now you can relocate. That's the time where you could go inside foot and find your rhythm into that shot. But essentially, okay, give me a quick 3 right here. I want you to watch his feet, and I want you to see if he has at least 1 foot anchored into the ground before he catches the ball. Or is he catching and his feet still moving? Go. Good. We got it. Go 2 more. You good? Get that ball up. Drop your chest. Drop your chest. Inside. You got it. Good. Let me see you bend down just a little bit. Drop your chest. Inside. 1, 2. Shoot up. Perfect. Perfect. That's it. Right? So you see the minor adjustments? It's very subtle. Right? It's very subtle. So as I put these guys through these series, I'm looking for about 40 different things on 1 jump shot. I'm not just telling guys, hey, get the ball up. I'm not vague, right? I'm very detailed, and I don't care about the result, if it's a make or a miss. I care about, is he getting that right foot down before he catches the ball to where when he plants that left foot, everything is going in one direction, okay? The second thing, just stay with me real quick. This is what I learned from D. Wade, his rhythm. Okay, I've been working with D-Wade for about 8 years now with a shoe brand, and I was very blessed to just learn so much from this man on and off the court. And every time we go into China, we'll throw these Ways on, you know what I'm saying? We'll test them out, and he'll bust my ass. That's when I really knew that there's levels to this. I could guard Wemby, I could guard PJ, I could guard Tyrese, because they had got all my moves, but I could not guard D-Wade, man. That guy was just something. There's a reason why he's one of the GOATs. But essentially, the one thing that he taught me was just rhythm and timing. So I just want you to work on this off the dribble, okay? So anybody, we got any good dancers in here? Any like salsa dancers? Anybody? Nobody dancing? I know we in a new generation, man. Yeah, man. Y'all different in New York. It's all good. I know you dance. Okay, mira. That's cool. That's cool. Chando. There you go. So the footwork, though, right, is timing. Some of you guys may have watched videos with Trae Young, and I'm always talking about staying light on your feet like a boxer, right? So you got to have rhythm and timing in your feet. So what I want you to do right now, I just want you to dribble, kind of just, I don't care about the handle. Just work your rhythm, okay? Then we're going to go ball side foot, and then we'll go inside foot, and we'll go off the hop, all right? So give me like 2 or 3 dribbles. 1, 2, and then go right into that pull-up. Yep, go inside foot. Inside, 1, 2, as soon as you find your rhythm. Tap, tap, perfect. Okay, nice, perfect. Okay, do the same thing, let's go ball side foot. Nice little hezzy. 1, 2, shift, right, smooth. You got it. Okay, give me 1 more. Give me that little subtle hop. So now let that ball hang, just subtle, off 2, right here. 1, 2, pound, up, perfect, good. Okay, y'all give it up for him. Good work, boy, good work. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna need you again. That guy's a hell of a shooter, okay. So you see timing, rhythm, flow, right? I know clearly ain't nobody going to the club no more having a good time. So if we're not dancing, we gotta find ways to figure out what's your rhythm, what's your cadence with your feet, okay? So for you coaches, highly recommend don't focus on the dribble moves. Focus on the rhythm, all right? Because everybody's gonna have different footwork. All right, so any questions on that real quick? Nope, all right. Next. Okay, my bad. Just go ahead and just stand with me. Yep, talk to me.
So, like, when you talk about T.J. Washington, he was able to get his numbers up 20% a year, right? Mm-hmm. Crazy. Do you track, like, when he getting his shots up, you talked a lot about repetition and consistency of footwork. Do you track the numbers within the workout? And if so, what were they looking like when he was shooting below 20% and then compared to raising it to the 20%?
Great question. Yeah, so again, short answer, yes. We have interns just kind of tallying up each shot. And I think it's important that as you guys work out, you guys always have a reference point, right? Just so you can kind of track and extract feedback and see, am I developing or not? Some days we didn't do that because I wanted him to have intentions. So when you guys walk through the gym, you have to have a theme, or you have to be intentional on what you want to be able to accomplish, okay? So I know a lot of guys, they'll go to practice or go to a workout and they just show up. They're not locked in. They're not focused on, oh, I want to make this X amount of shots or what have you. So it just really depended on the day, but it was a process. So real quick, next, okay? I call it a catch zone. So no, hold on, real quick. There you go. I need you. Catch zone, okay? Write this down. A catch zone is something, I used to be a huge baseball fan, still kind of am, but I used to play catcher, right? And I was a subpar batter. But just like they have a strike zone in baseball, we have a catch zone. So if you're shooting off the dribble, right, we always want our players to focus on catching or picking up the ball between their knee and their waist. Okay, so that's our pickup zone. If we're going off the catch, it's between their waist and their shoulders. Now catching, that's really contingent on how good of the pass is, right? That's why it's important to work on bad passes or catches off the bad pass. But it just allows you to work on things in different situations. So on pull-up jumpers, okay, let's focus on, again, find your rhythm off that dribble. All right, and I want you to, let's get downhill, let's work on that midi. Okay, let's get to this right elbow, and I want you to be able to get down. Again, focus on your posture. Let's get that foot balanced, and I want you to pick the ball up between your right knee and your right hip and just shoot up. All right, inside. Good, one, let's go, we got three. Right in it, inside, good, boom. Perfect, good, money ball, last one. Smooth, great job, y'all give it up, That's good work. Okay, go ahead and nail that left foot. Okay, so now we're gonna work on, now go back to what you just did with the left foot, okay? So this is another thing I look for, right? Never worked him out in my life. But what I'm looking for is what's his natural feel? What makes him feel comfortable off the catch, okay? So a lot of guys like that trigger step where they got the anchored foot and they wanna generate power going towards the basket. I'm cool with that because that's something we work on. In this case, okay, we're gonna work on give me two like this, and then give me two lateral steps, going side by side. Yep, left foot doesn't move. So we're gonna anchor that left foot, okay, go two with that right foot coming down. Yep, just going straight into that shot. Boom, right there. Good, now before you shoot this one, I want you to drop your shoulders, get below the pass, kind of load up a little bit more. And then give me one motion right there, boom. Perfect, good, okay, now give me two lateral steps. Okay, left foot kind of in the defensive stance. I want you to catch. And now as you bring this ball to your pocket, right, put this ball on a string with your foot. So it's 1, 2 right here, then going straight up, okay? Smooth, yep. Give me one more, shoot it higher, inside. Perfect, that's all right, okay? So we're gonna just drill this over and over and over again, okay? So far is this making sense? Okay? If we're shooting off the dribble, knees to waist. Okay? It's not always going to be that, but that's what we're striving for. Now, in that, the reason why we call it a pull-up jump shot, go ahead and try to play defense real quick, is if I'm attacking downhill, right? If you watch Jordan and Kobe, okay, going back to their posture, they're not upright, going up here, right? So it's not like a little jumper. But their shoulders are kind of low, where as they go into the ground and they get that foot planted, they're pulling up to where now they can shoot over the top, okay? So in that, okay, it's important to get players aware of the trajectory, the angles, and also the physics of where their momentum is going. So if you're going from the top of the key towards the elbow, I want you to pull up and shoot up. So going back to the velocity on the ball, I want everybody to watch the ball. Once he gets to that spot, go to your left and just shoot up. Good. Let's go. 2 more. Right here, inside. Smooth. Good. Nice and soft. 1 more. Watch the ball. Watch the ball. Perfect. Great job. Y'all give it up for him. Give it up. Great job. You're making me look good out here, man. I appreciate it. Hold on just for a second. Okay, so just to run through this again. Catch and shoot. We got to get set. You got to get a foot in the ground, and you got to be ready to shoot. Another thing we'll focus on, go to the top. Give me a passer real quick, because I'm already sweating too much. Right here. You got it. Go to the wing. Okay, ball reverse passes. Swing pass. Right? Go to the wing. You go to the top. Okay, now, if he's a right-handed shooter, foot anchored, left foot anchored, right here, okay. A lot of right-handed shooters, what we focus on is as he catches the ball, throw it to me, I want that ball to stop at my right pocket. Okay, so coaches, when you see how players catch the ball, sometimes they'll catch, throw it to me, here, come on, this side real quick, so everybody can see. What they'll do is they'll allow the ball's momentum to go through their midsection to the left side. Now, obviously, as they go into their shot, forearm is out, elbow's out, now we're losing accuracy. So it's important that on a right ball reversal, and he's swinging it, I want that ball to stop here at my hip. Now everything's more aligned, elbows in, and now we got the center. So go ahead and give him a good pass, lace the seams up, hit him right in that pocket, and don't let that ball go past your belly button. Just shoot straight up. 1, right here. Good. Now give me a little bit more power in your hips. So as soon as you catch, not a hard dip, but just subtle. Just something minor. 1 more. Quick. Smooth. Perfect. Okay? Subtle adjustments. Now, let's go to the left side. Same thing. Go ahead and nail that left foot. Okay? Same sequence. Ball's catching from the left. Now, I don't want it to be too mechanical, where they're catching from the left and then they're swinging it to the right. I want that ball to kind of just rip right through that hip, going straight through. Now, keep that left foot down and just move that right, yep. But when you catch, I don't want you to stop the pass's momentum, okay? So don't stop here and then swing. Kind of rip and then get it up, okay? So we got to shoot higher on this left-hand swing pass, okay? Up. Good. 1 more. Okay, perfect. Now you see how effortless that was on that catch? He wasn't robotic. Like I said, he didn't stop the momentum and then swing it to here. He just kind of had a little subtle rip and he was able to match his flow, okay? So again, we'll drill this out over and over and over again. Okay, so we got the catch and shoot. Now, going back to the left-hand pickups, right-hand pickups. This is me and D. Wade training in China somewhere. I don't even know the name of the country, the city. This is many moons ago. But any right-handed shooters, as you guys are dribbling, when I go to my right, there's always a subtle turn that I got to do going into my shot, right, to get squared. It's very minor, okay? For me, I like going to my left because everything is squared up and I can get right into my pull-up. It's a little bit more effortless. So now what I want you to do, okay, going back to the pickups. I want you to go to, you mind rebounding real quick, please? I want you to go to your right, get to that elbow, okay? Now, once you kind of just turn that corner like you're coming off a ball screen, I want you to catch right here at this hip, okay? And I want you to get a nice control fade headed this direction, okay? We got it. Good. Boom. We got it. Hit again. 1 more. Okay, perfect. Now, going to your right, this is a difficult shot. You should see now going to his left, he's going to feel more naturally, he's going to be more comfortable going to that pickup. So we got pickups going across our body in this case. I don't want that ball to come back to that right hip. Yeah, bring that shooting hand all the way over to that left pocket Now your elbow's gonna be out. So again, we have to work on tucking in the elbow and shooting up. We got 2. Smooth. We got it. Give me 2 makes. Good. Good. One more. Inside. Perfect. Perfect. Great job. Okay, now, go ahead. Show them love. Come in. I didn't put this on here, but another thing that we'll focus on is if we're attacking from the wing, let's say, right? And I'm trying to get downhill, I'm not going to be able to get 10 toes inside the paint. So in terms of our footwork, if I'm going to my left, what I want to do is stagger my feet. So I want my left toe to get to my right heel, and I want you to work on shifting your weight through this nail. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start right here. Yeah, we're going to get a left-handed dribble, but what I don't want you to get 10 toes, okay? Because if I get 10 toes, now everything is going this direction. That's fine for a little soft two-foot floater, but when we're trying to get away from the contest, I want this left foot, this left toe to get to this right heel, and I want my weight to shift backwards, okay? You got it. Smooth. Good. Give me one more. So again, we're going inside foot on this, just changing the balance. Again, sustainability with his back foot, he can load and he can shift his weight, okay? Give me the same thing, but I want a subtle hop. Same thing, give me a little 2 foot. Same thing here, 1, 2, and shift your weight again. Just a little bounce. Perfect, perfect. Good, one more. Let me see you lock in that elbow. Lock in the elbow all the way up. We got it. Good, I'll take that, okay? So again, different variants of footwork, inside foot, ball side foot, okay? We're working on the 10 toes, but once we get inside the paint, we got those trees down there contesting the shots, and we got to be able to shift our momentum left, right, and backwards. Okay, last thing, and then we'll open it up for discussions. Or not last thing, but some questions, excuse me. Okay, so I remember I was in, it was 2018. I was in La Jolla, California. It was Devin Booker, D. Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, De'Aaron Fox, Julius Randle. I mean, it was just the who's who of basketball, right? Donovan Mitchell was also there. And remember, we had a conversation with Chris Paul. And Chris, catching the ball at the elbow and ISOing off the elbow. So I was telling him, I was like, hey, Chris, I need you to get that ball in the right pocket. He shut that down and said, Tim, I don't have a shot pocket. I said, explain that to me. Because my whole life I've been taught as a right-handed shooter, every time I catch, I need to get into my right pocket. He said, no, that's false. So what I took from that is you have 5 pockets, right? You have 5 different pickup points. You got right shoulder, right hip, left hip, your midsection, or your left shoulder, okay? So if you watch anybody shooting, especially the KDs of the world or what have you, guys are always picking the ball up from one of those 5 spots. Same thing with like Trae Young, even how he picks up the ball. So if he's dribbling to his left, he got a tight pickup off the left. Then he could also have the extension going outside, going into his jump shot. So it really just varies on if it's, again, shooting or off the dribble, okay? You want to stop that E real quick before that goes off? All right, I'm gonna run through this, and then we'll go through the Q&A. Okay, set point and release point. Best way to be able to identify that as a coach, just toss them the ball, see where the ball goes, right? Or if they get into their free throw routine, again, if I'm a right-handed shooter and the ball's kind of coming over here, that's where their natural set point is before they get to the release point. So you can kind of see these examples. This is Tyrese in high school, same thing with PJ. They kind of shoot across their body naturally. So we got to find that happy medium for them to align the ball every time they catch it. Same thing with eyesight. We talked about this earlier. Small players look at the rim differently than big players, okay? So make sure you guys are focusing on that as well. Tyrese, you guys are good, by the way. Y'all go ahead and sit down. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. So I met Tyrese. I was working with Juwan Evans and Trae Young at the time. Tyrese was a young pup. His dad played Division I ball, hit me up and was like, yo, Tim, I need you to focus on shooting and pick and roll. Tyrese in the 9th grade was like a track star. I mean, probably one of the fastest guys I've ever worked with from baseline to baseline. So we had to get creative with him learning how to accelerate and decelerate. So we had to do a lot of stop and go action. But at South Garland in Dallas, Texas, he was a 4-year starter in high school, became a McDonald's All-American, went to Kentucky. The rest is history. But the process with him was we had to start with right hand, I call them a trigger shot, but right hand pull-ups off the ball screens, right? 90% of his attempts in high school, when he would get to his right hand, everybody knew he was getting to the rim. But I already knew, look, if we're trying to go to the league, you're not going to be able to do that every time. Ironically, he still does, right? He gets to the rim whenever he wants. But I needed him to start believing in his jumper. His jumper wasn't broke, but it wasn't precise the way I needed it to be. So this is when he just became a McDonald's All-American. You see us talking about posture, staying low, letting that ball, elevate him up. And with him, every make that we had to be a swish or it did not count. That really made him focus on every single rep. So from that, we went to work on his base, going back to the footwork. We worked on being off balance with 1 and 2 feet, but also how he would land. So you kind of see him working on a little scissor kick, right? We knew that when he would get inside the paint and he couldn't get to the rim, if he didn't have his floater, the third option was for him to get that nice little control fade, which had to really work on how he levitated and shifted his weight from left to right. Then we worked on that little shift. So Reese kind of has a game like Lou Williams a little bit. Y'all remember Lou Williams? So Lou had kind of that little side shift where he would kind of attack you downhill and he would kind of just drag towards the sideline or the baseline. So again, we working on pull-ups, but with him with just a nice subtle momentum going east to west, just working on getting that ball up in the air. Then we progressed, going back to finding his rhythm off the dribble. Now, I learned this from Jeff Hornacek, one of the greatest shooters of all time, played for the Utah Jazz, Karl Malone, John Stockton. If you could watch, I had him hit this left corner of that backboard, right there at the square, every single time. So all his shots, let me back it up just so y'all can see it again. He's got to make at least 4 to 5 shots in a row in the same spot on the backboard. So now this is kind of like playing darts, right? Really having to focus on hitting the same bullseye and target while he's going downhill. So from there, after he felt comfortable with that, we went back to the velocity. So first shot is flat. Watch how the second shot is a little bit higher on the arc. The third shot is going to be like a Steph Curry, where it's going to go high in the sky. But everything had to be perfect, right? We're not leaving the gym until he gets 3 in a row, flat, kind of a medium arc, and then a high arcing shot. And then it just kind of went from there. So again, same method, same formula for each player, but the only difference that I would do from PJ to Tyrese to Wemby to some of these other players that I've worked with is I'm looking at the shot chart. Where's the majority of their shots coming from? And let's go ahead and take these basic principles and apply it to the different spots on the floor and where he's working out. Okay, so now we're working on quick trigger shots. So his release, just getting it off really quick. So his timing, as he's kind of dribbling, just getting it out and just throwing it up. So you kind of see the evolution on that. And then I had him play against Victor. Now you got to shoot over a 7'4" big man and figure it out. Change your shot. So watch how his shot changes each time. This is when Victor was still in France. He came down for the summer, worked out. But you see how hard it is, right? So you have to be pretty crafty. You have to be very creative on how he's going to get his shot off. he just threw that shit up. He was just praying for that to go in. But now, watch the finished product. You can kind of see each variation of all the stuff that we worked on in the game setting. You see that foot getting nailed in the ground. He's anchoring that foot before each shot. Watch his feet. It's nice and quick. So going back to your shot, it just depends. It could be left foot or ball side foot inside or off of two. So just getting those feet anchored, I'm telling you, if there's nothing else that you guys will learn from this shooting clinic, get your feet set before the catch. Get your feet set at least 1 foot in the ground before you pick up the ball, okay? That's how he became the most improved player in the NBA and made the All-Star team. So last but not least, Big Vic, my guy. Started off in 2019. He was about 15, going on 16 years old, working with his agency. Worked with a lot of the French guys, so prior to knowing him, I was fortunate enough to continue to go to France 2 or 3 times a year, work with all those guys, and with Vic, we just kind of hit it off from the jump. Very inquisitive guy, very curious, asked a lot of questions. So I knew that he wanted to be great from early on. So when I met him, he was already a pro. He was playing Pro A ball for Nanterre. Evolved to playing in Lyon, France for Asvel, played at the Metro 92 Pro A team in Paris, and then became the Rookie of the Year in the NBA. So with Vic, this is kind of the evolution. Let me see if this is working. I think we got a technicality problem. You want to check this out real quick? I think it's overheating. I've been doing all this talking. Any questions real quick while we figure this out? Oh, I just need to go to the next slide.
It's not going to the next step.
No. Did it freeze up?
Try again.
Okay, here we go. All right, so this is actually the first ever workout I did with Vic. For 2 hours, we worked on this same move, a turnaround jumper. So we had a discussion. I said, listen, if you want to be great, get your big ass on that block. I know you want to shoot threes, but we got to work inside out. And so mastering the art form, I was a big Hakeem Olajuwon guy. I loved Hakeem. I'm, like I said, from the old school, being around D-Wade, the turnaround fadeaway, seeing Kobe, Jordan. These are the masters at their craft. Vic had to get a feel. So you can see he's very raw at this stage. Good player, but still has some deficiencies, and just allowing him to kind of paint his own picture. My job as a coach is to give him the tools, give him the paint, give him the canvas, and allow him to be able to paint his own picture, right, within certain parameters. So over time, over a 4 or 5 year span, we was able to get him to really understand his body. When you grow that fast and you're that big, it takes a while to get coordinated. He's wearing like a size 20 shoe. His shoes are bigger than me. So in this stage, again, it took patience. It took years, not time. So for you young guys, I know everybody wants to be great overnight, but it's gonna take a while. And the one thing with Vic, maybe it's a Capricorn thing, I don't know. But when he starts something, he has to finish it. So there's times, I mean, you know, we talked about this. When you got players like that that don't want to leave the gym until it's perfect, that's when you know you have something. So for you guys, when you go into these gyms and you go into your workouts, it's not just about doing whatever the coach is telling you to do. You guys hear Tyrese Maxey talk about 1% better. After your team works out, you guys get an opportunity to at least do a little bit extra to separate yourself. Over time, that's going to separate you from everybody else. So mind you, Vic plays the Knicks on Christmas Day, and he plays the Nets, I think it's on the 27th. So essentially what we were just trying to get here, this is about 2022, just working on how he's picking up the ball and kind of just moving his hips. So his hip mobility needed some work now. So just kind of getting that little dream shake. This is in, where was we at? This is in Paris. So this was about 2 years ago, just working on just different variations of shots off that inside pivot, reverse pivot, drop foot. And then now you can see in live game situation, after 3 years, now it's his bread and butter shot. It's his go-to move, right? So everything's controlled fadeaway. Nobody in the world is gonna now be able to block that shot because of his ability to be able to be mindful of where his body's going. So this is another early on in the stage. Now we're working off the dribble. So you see he got a nice little handle, and just getting him to understand what it feels like to go downhill. Being able to decelerate on a drop of a dime and get into his pull-ups, it was very important. I'm over there just talking trash. And eventually, I'm sitting here talking to him while he has like a little Bluetooth in his head. So he's communicating. As I'm watching him, he's over there working out, and I'm just correcting him. So you'll kind of see how young he is right here in this in this clip. So I got about a couple more, and then we're about done. So we'll open up for questions. So this is just a series of process. So we'd work out about 4 times a week via Zoom during COVID. You can see how young he is. You don't have an edge up. His hair's all over the place. Just got out of bed. But you can see me talk about posture, right? Getting those shoulders dropped, getting that foot anchored. Same formula, same process, same principles, different player.